Hey, what's happening guys? Welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the importance of pre-production and how to go about it. Essentially, when you're making videos, you need to have a plan, right? Say you're kind of like me where you shoot videos for a living. So whether it's a corporate client or just a friend that you're working with, there are a couple of things that you might want to look into. That way, you're able to make profit, please your client, but also have a business that someone can point at tomorrow and say, hey, I've worked with these guys before. Now, I've gone through a couple of things myself, some that I can say, some that I can't say, but all I can say is I've got enough experience to tell you here's where you can step and here's where you should definitely not go. Let's jump right in. It's important that you read a brief that is provided to you, or to ask for one if it hasn't been provided already. Once you go through the brief, make sure you understand what your client actually wants, whether it's to inform people, to have a call to action to subscribe to a certain service, but you need to have all these things in mind before you actually start even planning to shoot the commercial or whatever particular video they actually need done. If it's not in line with the actual goal that the client desires to achieve, you're pretty much not going to be hired for your next one, because why would they? They'll feel like you never got the message across, even if it was their fault. So you have to make sure you're proactive in this particular aspect, making sure you understand the product before it actually goes onto video and later on hits the market. Now, a lot of people dread this process, and I have too, but trust me, I can't stress enough how important it is for you to actually have your shots planned properly prior to the shoot. And here's why. You're able to save time on location setups. Once you get to the place, especially if you've already scouted, I go to the place, check it out, grab a couple of stills so that I know exactly how my setup is going to be. Maybe I'll need some extra lighting, or maybe I might bring too much for the scene. So this helps me to plan and measure things correctly and know how I'm going to go about it on the actual day. Shot planning also helps you out with framing. Different scenes will require different framings. You might have a certain idea that you might want to pull off on set, but maybe how the actual set you've been provided with or that you have to work with cannot really work like that. Maybe you want some crazy wide angle, but the space is a little too tight. Now, this is where you're able to go like, oh, you know what? I'll maybe need this particular lens in order to actually shoot this thing with the particular space that I've been given. And you might want to dodge that by making sure you plan your shots prior to shooting. After this, you might want to check your equipment. Do you have all the right stuff? Right? Do you have the right lenses? Do you have the right drones? Do you have the right lights? And the microphones if you're going to be doing audio on set. So this is obviously useful. But let me give you an aspect why it is very important that you may not think about every single time you're going on set or planning to shoot something. Say you are about to cover something maybe at 4 in the morning, right? There's a shot of maybe someone jogging 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and you know you're going to be outdoor, it's going to be pretty dark, you're going to have lights, yes, but then, my bad. You're going to have lights and everything, but you still need a camera that maybe can really handle this low light, because you need all the data that you can get regardless of how good your dynamic range can be with the camera that you actually have. Maybe you might need a better one for that particular scene. So here's one you might not like. Consider having backup equipment on set. Okay, malfunctions happen all the time. I've dealt with these things, and it's always hard to explain to the client, which also you might want to put into your contract in case things can go wrong. Things can get stolen, equipment can get broken, and you might not be able to recover some things. So it's always important to have a backup camera on set. Now, you might obviously be saying, okay, that's going to cost a lot of money, but these are things that you actually need to factor into your budget. Because if you don't, and if something goes wrong, everybody pretty much looks at you, and if you look clueless, then pretty much everything goes worse than you actually charging them a little bit higher so that you can have a camera to hire. Woohoo, rhyming! Based off of the brief you've been provided, you need to develop a script for your client. Whether there's going to be a voiceover or there's going to be a dialogue in this particular video, all that needs to be written down. It's important to have the words and not having them say, oh, you know what, I actually don't like that sentence while you're in the editing process, or you've actually maybe delivered the final video. Now, imagine how much work you now have to put in to go back and reshoot all these things. Yeah, you're going to have to hire that backup camera you didn't want to hire before, and that's going to be a lot of money. So make sure you have a script that you go through with the models or the actors that need to be in the video. Run it by your client so that they are fully aware of the things that are going to be said in the video. This saves you a lot of time and a lot of trouble. The next step is pretty much just managing client expectations. Now, this is more for you internally with your team, or even if you're working solo. You're going to have different difficulties that you might have to run through in order for you to actually deliver this particular video for your client, right? If you live in a country like I live in, you're gonna have, let's say, power cuts. So once you're creating your schedule, you need to have a plan where, okay, fine, if this goes wrong, what am I going to do? Okay, maybe you can move location to a place that actually has power. So maybe investing in a backup power is actually something pretty cool, pretty useful. You might want to do that if you can. But if not, always have a plan. Say, okay, fine, you know what, if this thing happens and I can't do this, then I'll probably go to this location where I can actually finish the job. Another thing to consider is actually storage. Never have one backup. I mean, that's not even a backup, right? So never store these things in one place. Make sure you've got maybe 2 or 3 backups, and by the time you deliver this video, once the client checks out and says, okay, I've gotten the video, I'm happy with it, we can proceed. Once they start to distribute it on social media and everything, you can happily delete these files. That's okay, because even if they do come back and say, hey, when I change something, that's a different case. Unlike they're saying that when you actually have not finished this entire video. So keep that in mind, it's very important. It saves you a lot of trouble for the future. If you do have a team, or if you're working with a team, it's quite important, I feel, for the person who's actually working on the job or handling a particular task at that moment, say someone who is maybe sequencing or color grading, to not be the same person who's actually talking to the client, right? It creates unnecessary pressure on you once you start to hear these words directly from the client, like, oh, where are we, and how come it's taking long, or anything like that. You kind of want to have an independent person who is able to regulate the pressure from between them and you. Sort of like they don't just relay everything what the client says straight to you, but they tell you the things that actually matter, the things that will just help you to get the job done, and not necessarily, man, they're so pissed, what do we do now? You know, those are not the kind of things that you want to be telling to the person who's directly handling this project. So like I said, these are things I'm telling you guys from experience. I use them all the time with the team that I work with at Studio Oxygen Africa. Also check out our website and our Vimeo page right in the description. But yeah, I can't stress enough how important that is. Make sure you do that separation, and from the person who's actually handling the project, the person who's working on the project immediately, they should be able to relay to you, like, honestly, and say, hey, look, I think we're going to be running a little bit late because of this, and you need to find a way of relaying that information to your client. And in closing, honesty is the best policy. Things can go wrong, things can take a certain turn, you might have a certain idea to maybe improve the video already, even before it's done. These are things that you actually do need to communicate to your client, because once you start to do the whole lying thing and, oh, you know, we're just running a little late because of this, and now when things hit the fan, you are pretty much boxed in and you have nowhere to go. So I've been in that position before, and it's not really a good look. Dishonesty is not good in the first place. So make sure you keep an honest channel, and it's better if things have gone extremely wrong to just say, hey, here's what has actually happened. That way even they can be like, okay, can we fix it, can we not? You know, you're able to sort of like move on from that while everybody knows exactly what is going on, unlike you say something and then they find out later. Yeah, that's never good. Also on the client's part, you know, things like pricing is important to talk about. Obviously way before, I think I should have put that point right ahead. Sometimes you get clients who are, you know, funny with it, and they'll be like, hey, yeah, we're definitely going to pay you, man. Oh yeah, you know, just tell me what the price is. No, make sure you're straight with it. Tell them what the price is, send a quotation, send payment terms, and everything that they need to know. You're doing a business, okay?
This is not charity.
This is not something that you just learned for free. You spent data, academic, tuition, however you acquire your skills. So make sure every single person that is actually hiring you gets to pay what you are worth, and we can talk about that later on. But for now, I would say these are the points that I would definitely have everybody consider before they actually get into production. Why? You don't want to lose jobs, you don't want to mess up jobs, you want jobs to come out nice, clean, but also on time. Okay, you've got to have that combination. Pretty hopeful you found this useful. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to tackle anything else. I know I owe you guys a video on making reels. The part 2 had a little glitch when I was recording the first video that I did, so I would have to like redo that. So once I sort out a few things in a week or 2, I'll be able to post that video. But for now, let's keep it pushing, let's keep creating, guys. It's lovely to know that you guys are actually still watching this. I had vanished for like about a year, but hey, we're here, back to stay. Peace, have a good one.